For our next story, let's step back in time. The year was 1834. British ships sliced through the Indian Ocean, carrying loads of human cargo. Hundreds of laborers from India, they were promised work and a better future, a better life than what they were leaving behind. That was the promise. But as they stepped onto the sugar plantations of Mauritius, they found themselves bound to a foreign land. And they ended up becoming a link that still binds India and Mauritius. The first Indians went there more than 2 centuries ago, and today India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in the very same country. He is attending the island's 57th National Day celebration. And tonight we'll tell you why this visit is so crucial, what makes Mauritius such an important friend and partner for India. Let's look at the Prime Minister's visit first. He landed in Port Louis earlier today, where he received a guard of honor and was then greeted by traditional songs. From here, Prime Minister Modi met the President of Mauritius. He gifted him Ganga Jal from the Mahakumbh. Ganga Jal, as some of you would know, is holy water from the river Ganga. He also gifted the President makhana or fox nuts, which is a superfood from the Indian state of Bihar. For the First Lady of Mauritius, Prime Minister Modi brought a Banarsi sari and he gifted it to her in a traditional Sadeli box.
के साथ मुलाकात की है। मॉरिशस के राष्ट्रपति से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की मुलाकात हुई है, तो वहां भी प्रधानमंत्री ने कुछ विशिष्ट उपहारों के साथ राष्ट्रपति का अभिनंदन भी किया।
The Mauritian Prime Minister has also awarded the highest civilian award, the country's highest civilian award, to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is the first Indian leader to receive this honor. Now, this visit will last for 2 days. As I said, Prime Minister Modi will attend the National Day celebrations. He will also meet a lot of officials. On the agenda are multiple deals and agreements. Prime Minister Modi says this visit will open a new chapter in India-Mauritius ties. Which brings us to Mauritius. It was first discovered by Arab sailors back in the 10th century. Then the Dutch claimed the islands. They named the archipelago Mauritius, in honor of Maurice of Nassau. In the 18th century, the French took control. That's when the first Indians arrived in Mauritius. They were artisans and masons from Puducherry in India, which also happened to be occupied by the French. Puducherry in the southern part of India. Then in the year 1810, the British finally seized control. They needed a workforce for their plantations in Mauritius, so they orchestrated the Great Indian Migration. Ships ferried thousands of workers from Bihar, Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. They built new lives and raised families in this foreign land. And over generations, they became Mauritians, with Indian names and Indian cultural values, but a new national identity. Today, Mauritius has a population of 1.2 million. 70% of them are of Indian origin. Languages spoken on the island include Bhojpuri, Tamil, Telugu, Hindi and Urdu. Diwali, Holi and the Tamil New Year are national celebrations here. The Prime Ministers of Mauritius are of Indian origin. Even the National Day is linked to India. In the year 1901, Mahatma Gandhi landed in Mauritius. He was on his way to South Africa. Gandhi was just a lawyer then, but he had a message for the Indian community there. He told them to educate and organize themselves and reclaim their dignity. This message stayed with the people of Mauritius. So to honor him, they celebrate their National Day on March 12th, the same day as Gandhi began his Dandi March. More than half a century later, in the year 1968, Mauritius became an independent country. Sivasagar Ramgoolam became the first Prime Minister. He too was of Indian origin, and he had close ties with Indian freedom fighters. He once even proofread a book by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Since then, only 2 families have ruled this island nation, the Ramgoolams and the Jugnauts. Sivasagar Ramgoolam's son is the current Prime Minister of Mauritius. So while the relationship spans centuries, ties between India and Mauritius as independent countries deepened after 1968, the year when Mauritius became a free country, when they got independence, 1968. Then in 1974, the two countries signed a defense agreement. India became the guarantor of Mauritius's security. And the first challenge came in 1983. There were rumors of a coup being planned by the MMM, the Mauritian militant movement. They apparently wanted to take over the island. Reports suggest that India intervened then. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. She ordered a covert operation called Operation Lal Dora. Apparently, the plan was to send Indian troops to Mauritius in the event of a coup. It did not happen, and it's not something that India has ever accepted. Either way, the coup was averted, and that's not the only time that India has backed Mauritius. There's also the Chagos Islands. It's an archipelago in the Indian Ocean. It was separated from Mauritius by the British. Its largest island, the largest island of the Chagos group, is called Diego Garcia. The British leased it to build a military base there. They still have it. The island now hosts a US military base, Diego Garcia. Mauritius has long wanted the islands back, and India has supported this demand. Even at international forums, India championed Mauritius's cause. And last October came a victory. The UK announced that it would hand over the islands to Mauritius. So from security cover to diplomatic support, India has always stood up for Mauritius. And beyond the friendship, this was also a strategic investment. Because look at where the island nation is situated, in the Indian Ocean. And India has been building assets there of late, especially in the Agalega Islands. They're located 1,100 kilometers north of Mauritius. India has invested in infrastructure in Agalega, like an airstrip and a new jetty. And the reason is quite clear. China is widening its footprint in the Indian Ocean. Agalega gives India a presence to help and to work with partners like Mauritius to counter Beijing's growing influence. And that's not all. India also helps pick the National Security Advisor of Mauritius. It's an arrangement that goes back decades. The Mauritian NSA is always an Indian citizen. Beyond all of this, we also have economic ties. Mauritius is a top source of FDI into India. That's foreign direct investment. India has also poured in over $1.1 billion into development projects there. From metro lines to disaster relief, India has positioned itself as their most reliable ally. India and Mauritius are also reaching for the stars, quite literally. Since 1986, India's space agency ISRO has operated a satellite tracking station in Mauritius. It helps guide India's missions into space. So as Prime Minister Narendra Modi stepped onto Mauritian soil today, he arrived not just as a head of state, but also as a symbol of this relationship, a relationship that is rooted in history, strengthened by strategy and driven by a shared future.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.